All right, everyone. It's Friday, and it is another Q&A with Alan and Marshall. I'm Marshall Atkinson,
I'm Alan Howe with Easy Way.
and welcome to our little show.
It is our little show.
It's the little show that could, I think.
And you know what? Way over 100 episodes. I don't know what we're on, and I still think
We're
about
108.
Who knew?
It's 108 for something we just made up.
Yeah,
as a goof, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's evolved into something that I'm actually proud of. So it's really great. So
it is, and we still forget things a lot and forget to do things. And
yeah, we're people, and people make mistakes.
We
right?
are,
and we're learning as we go. And if you've been a watcher of the show, you know that we've had some technical challenges here and there a little bit, and we just giggle through it and move on, and we're learning. That's how you do it. You can't be afraid to start, right?
Sometimes we could go through it. Sometimes we could go through it online, and then afterwards I want to kill myself. But yeah,
I tell you, here's what is inspiring. Our first two guests, first two people, Podrick from Ireland. And Ghostas from Sweden.
And look at the third one.
And Hurley, Chris is from
Canada. Come on, USA. Right? Way to go. I'm loving this.
Are there no USA people watching today? Come on.
We need, who do we have? Okay, from Kansas. All right.
From Kansas. All right.
They're representing the USA. Who was from Australia that was on last week?
Yeah.
Man, we've had them from all over, so this is awesome.
It's great. It's worldwide. We're worldwide.
We are. And I think it's awesome. So I think
Podrick says we're finished work for the day because
goes to Podrick. Let's get we got to start planning Q&A Europe. Let's go.
Yeah. Melissa's here. Hey Melissa.
Hey Melissa, how you doing from Cave City? That's
Kentucky.
That's Heather's
that's mom. Right. Mm-hmm. Great.
Well, and I've met them both. I've had lunch with them, with her and her husband, Robbie, who I just affectionately call the dad.
The dad?
The dad. Yeah.
Yeah, and Kim's here. She lives in Arizona now. I need to go check out her shop.
Absolutely.
She invited me out when it was finished.
And I want to.
Is it finished?
When I come back to Arizona, we need to go together.
When are you coming back? I was talking with Jesse Martinez yesterday.
I was talking to him too.
As to when you were coming out, I think we all want to go to lunch or something.
Well, I think we do. Jesse called me, and Jesse Martinez is with Matsui. He's been on here, a good friend of ours. He called me yesterday also, so probably about the same thing.
You know what to do? We should invite Fresner to go to lunch.
You know what? I want to. Scott Fresner is such a great guy. And I'll tell you what, one of our buddies, our friends at the Tshirt show, Dylan and Andy, had him on for their 100th episode. And what a great show. It's long. It's about 3 hours, but check it out. It was awesome that they had him on.
Good.
And he shared history, ups and downs of business, his successes and failures. And it was a great interview. So
yeah, well, if there's a guy that's not scared to jump, it's that guy.
Nope. And that's what he says. He is the true serial entrepreneur of the industry, and has brought more things to market. He brought DGG, he brought inkjet film. I remember when he brought inkjet film to market. He didn't invent it; he just brought it to market.
Right? Yeah.
And
good.
So great.
All right. Cool.
Look at Michael Gum from Mind's Eye.
Oh, hey! By the way, Kim says her shop's finished.
Awesome.
Kim, I need to square away with you a day to come out and check it out. I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
Michael Gum says, hey.
Michael's from Mind's Eye Graphics. So awesome.
Yeah. So now that Greg's retired, is what happened to that shop? Are they still running? You guys still running?
They are running. They're open and running. They have some new owners on there. I know Michael has stayed. A couple of them have stayed there, and we'll see.
Good.
I did have a quick conversation with Greg, and I have stayed in touch, and and Rob Kanicki and I have talked.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did Rob move on? He's like farming now, right?
Yeah. Well, Rob has always farmed. His family has a very large farm, so he was always busy during harvest and planting season. And Rob has actually taken over the whole family farm. They're expanding, And it was so cool talking to Rob because he was talking about the things that they did at Mind's Eye that made it great, of lean and looking on there and being, of processes he is implementing into the farming industry.
Oh, that's great.
And that is so awesome.
Standardizing stuff.
Yep, absolutely. So it was a great conversation with him.
Good.
So
thanks everybody for watching. And just a recap here. This is a Q&A show, so we need questions. We need answers. If there's a question or there's a topic we're talking about, we need your engagement. That's what makes this show fun. That's why we're all here. It's kind of a community thing. We're all going to lift each other up. And if you could right now, share that you're watching. We want everybody to know that we're on right now and then that you're watching. So it only takes a couple of moments. So if you could do that, that would be fantastic.
And that helps us so much, especially on weeks like this where we failed in marketing. We did. It was awful, and it's both of our faults.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, Frank's here from SNS.
Always good to have Frank.
How you doing? So let's pay some bills, and then let's get to our topic today, because it is a big one.
And it's going to be fun. I want it to be fun and inspiring. So yeah.
Right. Where is the thing? Right here.
I don't know. We're new at this.
All right. Well, thank you so much, GSG, for sponsoring our show. Absolutely. We love you. And we're going to share something from their Pulse magazine later in the show. But let's get to what our topic is.
GSG is also going to be another trade show coming up. GPX in Indianapolis is in a couple weeks. I'm usually there. I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be overseas. But Easyway will be there, and GSG will be there. And it looks like it's going to be a good turnout. There's some people that usually don't exhibit been exhibiting, so could be a good show. So
I considered going to that, but I have other things I'm doing. So
and then the big one,
timing thing.
I still think anybody wants to go to show ISS Fort Worth.
I think that's going to be a really good show.
It's going to be a great show. I think we're going to be there. I believe, and GSG has multiple huge booths, and it's just going to be a good time.
Yep. All right, so let's get to our topic today.
Let's go.
It's a big one. And
it is.
Alan had the epiphanal moment this morning, and this is what it was.
And it wasn't on screen printing.
It's not so doom and gloom, so don't get scared, right?
Yep.
So, Alan, why don't you just lead us off here and talk about why you want to talk about this today? And then we have some ideas about what you guys should be doing right now as far as prep.
Well, here's the thing. One, prepare for recession. We should be preparing always on this. This is not Marshall and I's prediction. We don't know if there's a recession. We know things in the world are weird right now. It's the elephant in the room. And there's some indicators we've watched. I don't know what's going on. Marshall, you've seen it too. I've talked to some of our dealers and us, and we're seeing a little bit of a plateau on there, and that's fine. Things come, shoot up, things plateau, things drop. We know that,
right?
And that's fine. But why is that? We think because of rising gas prices, of food prices, of stuff that we know. This is not doom and gloom. It just is what it is. That people are going, wait, do I need 100 shirts? And they're just kind of holding off a little bit, and things are starting to plateau. Some of it's seasonal. We get it. But there is this. So we just came out of this, and Marshall, you and I talked about this at the beginning of the pandemic. What happens? And I got thinking about it again. The only thing we could go back to the pandemic and refer to, and if you guys didn't see the show, I am not a business owner, but I have family members who have been through it, and I talked to my uncle, and he had the great scenario, and I've stolen it, where there are always in business recessions, emergencies and stuff where things are up, they come down, and there's that trough, and then you start coming up. And at the bottom of the trough, the survivors, there's opportunity, huge. And we saw it at the end of the pandemic. Those that survived, we saw opportunity for customers, for employees, for equipment. So we need to prepare for this. Things are going up. So what do we do if there is a recession? And so we've come up with about 5 things that maybe we need to start looking at from a worldwide prediction.
Right. Yeah. Before we share those, I just want to throw in here that, you know, if you just look at what's going on in the world, right? You look at the cost of fuel, right? So why is that important? Well, you know, that your delivery truck, your airplane ticket, your whatever, you know, that cost has to go up. And then what happens is, you know, that gets passed on. Yeah. And then what happens is when you start seeing a lot of this stuff, what happens is people scale down what they're doing, right? If it goes on long enough, people go, you know what? I'm going to start conserving my money a little bit. I'm not going to go on vacation. Or if I do, I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to go to the beach, right? And so what happens is everything starts shrinking a little bit, right? And then it's a domino effect, right? So what we're saying right now is we just want you to look ahead, and you know we're in May, you know, so look ahead for the next couple of quarters and start preparing and thinking now about what could happen. And then we want you to be prepared. And so it isn't a total shocker surprise, you know, but talking with shops, everybody's crazy busy right now. Oh yeah. Right. And we're not saying that's not going to stop or whatever. We just want you to be prepared. And that's our theme for the show today.
And sometimes it's not that people stop buying, Marshall. In recessions, I've seen this before working for dealers and emulsion manufacturers, is that they don't stop buying, but they buy different. And sometimes instead of, the best way to put it, instead of ordering 1,000 shirts, I'm going to order 500 now and 500 after those sell. And we used to analytically see that in distribution, because why are our emulsion numbers higher now than they should be? And because people are buying more screens because they're buying that way.
Right.
So, and we're not saying, again, I want to say this is not Marshall and I's prediction. This is just, let's talk.
We have some points we're going to make, and let's get some comments out real quick, and then we'll jump in.
These are points we should be looking at anyways, regardless of the good times and the bad.
Yeah. So Cindy's here. Good morning, Cindy. Good morning. Josh is here. Good morning, Josh. Gosa says companies flag a 25 to 45% up on all textiles.
All right, cool.
Ray says, man, really, I've seen that we're already in recession by looking at several key points.
I've heard that. There's some people that are seeing that too, but I don't know.
David says, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Edwards.
Greetings. Daryl says, I believe you can add buying groceries to the list.
Absolutely. It's all of it.
Yep. Pre-relator hammered us with a $48 surcharge to ship one box, one province over, $100 to ship one box.
Yep. And so these are things we're seeing.
And so you have to pass that on, right? You can't eat that, right? So these are the things that we have to be doing, right?
And I love
Charles is here.
Good morning, Charles. And I love that we have an international perspective now on this too. Yeah. This is awesome.
So our first point is really about knowing your costs, right?
Yep.
And I've been in this business for a long time, and I've talked to, I don't even know how many hundreds, if not over 1,000 shop owners. I've lost count a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that a lot of people aren't really doing a good job tracking this.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Yeah.
They don't know what it costs. They don't know what their costs are, right? It's just like, hey, what's left over at the end of the month? I'll pay myself, right? So I really want you to do a really good job right now of looking at what it costs you to do business, right? And then what was it before and what is it now, right? Is it going up? And I think Hurley made a really good point about shipping. So he bought something, right? And then the shipping was the killer, right?
Yep.
And so it's the total price that you have to look at. It isn't just the whatever you bought. It's the total price of what it was, right? And then you can't just eat that, right? You still have to be profitable. So this has to be passed on to your customer, which means that you should be looking at some sort of price increase or a variable price that you're doing things, and really be monitoring this, because it's so important. Because what we don't want to do is, you have, these are just fictional example numbers. We have $10,000 worth of sales and it costs us $10,000 to do the work and we make no money, and you're not looking at what's going on. So we want you to be really focused on this, and it's the total cost of everything. So there's hidden things in there, right, that you should prepare for, right? So know your costs. And we would love if you can share some of the things that you see out there that, used to be something and now it's a little different. What are you seeing out there? If you could share an example, that would be awesome.
Marshall is someone that coaches people on this all the time. How often should they do this? Like, you could have done it 6 months ago, know your costs, but things have changed. How often do you recommend they keep reviewing?
Well, it's by paying attention. I have a book, right? If you want to buy my book, called Price for Profit, it's got a cost spreadsheet in there. There's actually a guy, his name is Austin Caldwell. He's got his a free spreadsheet that you can get. It's all over Facebook if you haven't looked at that.
Yep, Austin's good
so
guy.
It's like, or you can just do it yourself. It's really just about looking at your P&L. I mean, what type of system you have? Are you buying things? Are they going into QuickBook? Can you generate a report, right? And look and compare, what's going on. You should know revenue, cost of goods, overhead. If you know those three things, you can generate your gross profit and your net profit percentage. That's just basic business, right? If you don't know this stuff, call me, I'll help you, right? But you should know this, right? It should not be a shocker, right? So just think about what you're doing and what you're spending. And what I want you to look at is, what you're buying, right? And if something costs $50 and it's now 65, what's going on with that? Right. Yep. And then not to mention that delivery on it. Right. So there's could be a surcharge, right? We see that a lot with freight right now. There's I just bought a plane ticket the other day, right? Plane tickets have generally lately been about $500-600. It was $1,500. Yep. Right now, my client's paying that, right? So, it's not really out of pocket for me, but it's 3 times what it was. And I think it was just, the location I was going to, because I have to like connect somewhere. Right. So,
and again, that affects your business, because now the client has to decide, aside from what it is, it goes into the whole package. And that's what you just got to know.
Yeah. So, where are we on the thing? All right. So,
Early.
Yeah, so Hurley says that was for a customer. He almost pooped when I told him his shipping costs. Exactly.
And for people who know, in Canada, when he says it's just a province away, that's like a state away. So it wasn't real far.
Ghosta says, if you'd like to succeed, pay yourself first. Or sorry, Profit First. If you haven't read that, that's an excellent book by Mike Michalowicz. Highly recommend. Cindy says, I am checking prices for soft style t-shirts. 3 different vendors cost $320, $310, $302. Every little savings helps. Exactly right. So here's an 18-cent difference per shirt.
Yep.
Right now, your client gets one price. That 18 cents, you know what that's called? That's called profit.
Profit. Yeah. Now, the variable is, do they have them in stock? What do they have?
Well, there's other factors involved in that.
The 302 is coming from Australia, so that'll be a little bit more.
And then, what is that? Do you get free freight?
Yeah.
Is there a freight charge on that? So that the list price could be something, but the freight charge could be on the other end, and then it's not really the one price, right? So,
Yep. Great point, Cindy. Thank you for sharing that.
So John says, busy moving to a new 3,000 square foot building, but much love and have you guys in the background. Great. Thank you, John.
And John,
congratulations on the new facility.
Yep. John, and I'm looking forward when I get back in the country in a few weeks of coming down to Richmond, Indiana, and seeing it. So looking forward to spending some time with you, man.
Ray says, identify, control unnecessary inefficiencies and overhead costs, and we all have them. Diversify what you can do with the equipment you already have.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Right.
And that'll fit into one of our other points too.
Yeah. So the thing here is really, and we don't want to beat the dead horse here, but you have to know this stuff and you have to be paying attention. And I can tell you, for my conversations I've had with a lot of business owners, they're understaffed. They're running a press. They're running an embroidery machine. They're checking an inventory, right? So these basic business things get pushed to the side because they're busy doing the work in the shop rather than working on their business, right? So, and I totally understand that. I totally respect it. I just want to make sure you're putting enough time and energy and effort into this, because you don't want the sticker shock when you close the month out to go, hey, we didn't make any money, or we used to make this and now we're making this. And now you're all in a reactionary thing, right? So just my whole point here is to be looking ahead. And if you are that shop where you're doing all that work, you might consider getting some help so you can be concentrating on stuff like this, delegating some stuff off so you have time. You don't have to spend, all day on it, but maybe you're spending 30 or 60 minutes a day on actually running your business instead of working in your business. So
absolutely.
All right. So Cindy says, yes, stock is available. As you order several orders to get free freight, all Texas warehouses.
Wonderful. Great.
Good. Job. Looking forward to it. Alan, bring me a dip tank.
I don't carry them with me. So, but John,
in the back of your truck. Come on.
I don't have a truck. I have a Jeep, Grand Cherokee, but I do not keep them with me. But John, I'll give you a call. I'll tell you where to get them.
Okay.
And John, you got a show coming up, Indianapolis.
Yeah.
In a couple weeks. Go there. Go to the Easy Way booth. They'll have them there. Pick it up. Okay.
So recession proofing your shop. Here's point 2. Alan, set yourself apart.
Got to set yourself apart. Why should someone order from you as opposed to the guy down the road, or go online to an anonymous? What are you doing that makes people go on, I'm going to order from John in Richmond, Indiana, regardless of what its prices are? That's setting yourself apart, because it has nothing to do with cost or with price. It's either because of great service. He does stuff that nobody else does. So if he can do the real cool stuff, he can do the one color. And that's the thing that when we had Chris on a few weeks ago with the high density, is that all he does? No. If you want to send him an order for 200 shirts, white ink, one color on black, he'll do them.
Yeah.
But it's set yourself apart. What can you do to make that that design of theirs a little bit cooler? Can you do a yellow sparkle over it? Can you run a glitter on it? What can you do going, hey, I only need 5 of them? Really? Do you have HTV? Do you have DTG? What are you doing to help these people where you're there? Marshall, we used to say in sales that it was delivery, it was service, price, and quality. You can have 2, but not 3. And I don't buy that anymore. You got to have 3.
You have to have all of them.
Yeah, because if you
too
don't,
much competition.
Somebody's going to get it. Yeah.
It's too much competition. And I think really you have to understand the value that you bring to the table from your customer's point of view.
Yep.
Quit trying to sell people stuff, right? Yep. Quit trying to convince people to buy your thing.
Yep.
You need to understand what you bring. And if you don't know your value, you don't know your business.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's really important that you consider this. And if you're just a screen printer, if you just, what label do you have for yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Are you helping people solve problems, or are you just a commodity? I'm just a screen printer, and that's what you think yourself as, right?
Are you bringing yourself as a marketing agent? How can I help build your business? How can I put you out front? Is basically it. And Marshall, we were talking, you are a consultant, and you do that a lot. You have to keep yourself out there. You have a big company that just contracted you, and we can't say who, but it's exciting for you. And why did they do that? Because you are the guy out there, and you've worked very hard in that to do that. So
just let's, somebody who's on here right now that does a really good job of showing his value is Daryl Garcia.
Right? Absolutely.
And so he does a fantastic job of this, and he is 100% about having alignment with his customers. And if you're not a right customer for him, he'll just recommend you go somewhere else.
And that's great.
And he's all about delivering value. He's all about making sure you're a good fit for him. And I think that's just brilliant. And so, good job, Daryl, with that. And he does a good job of setting himself apart.
I think alignment, that's a great term that we don't use enough with that. Are you the right fit? Are you aligned with your customers?
Well, do you know what your customer's problem is that you're uniquely qualified to solve?
Yep.
And then you have the perfect solution for them.
Yep.
Right. And then also another side of that coin, are they a good customer for you? Like, do they pay their bills? Are they easy to work with? Or, that type of stuff. I mean, to me, this industry is all about, I don't want to work with jerks, right? I don't want to work with people who don't pay me. So if you're one of those two things, I'm not working with you. I don't care who you are.
I just wrote before we got on, I was finishing a part of a report I was doing for work, and I met with one of our dealers, and they have some big things going on in front. And man, one of the things I put in the report, it's not a monster huge national one on it, but I said, man, they are growing. Their numbers have been great with us. Here's what we're doing. And they stock and they pay.
Yeah.
And that's big. They never go over terms, and they stock a lot. They pay a lot. They hit markets we don't. And it's like, we need to keep, it's a good client for me.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. Couple comments here. So Daryl says tracking time, sourcing, locating stock. This is billable time.
Absolutely.
Simplicity matters. So for Daryl, one of the things he's doing is he's all about standardizing his processes, standardizing his workflow, working on his efficiency, doing exactly the right thing at the right time. And if it doesn't fit that model, then it's not a good job for him, right? And I just think that's brilliant.
Absolutely.
Hurley says we print so far outside the box that we're in a different warehouse.
Well, and I think there's good and bad. You don't want to be so far outside in a different warehouse where you're losing your customers.
I don't know.
I love that. But you know what? What's your business plan set up to?
Yeah.
Is that a purpose?
Oh, yeah.
Not your niche.
Do you have a business plan?
Absolutely.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, exactly.
So Ray says
that is your screen opener.
Yeah.
That is Marshall's screen opener.
Yeah. Yes. Setting yourself apart goes hand in hand with diversification of capability. Right. Printing something new can be as simple as learning how to make a different type of screen.
I agree.
Don't forget, right? There's value in difficulty. Nobody pays a juggler to toss one ball.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you want to make money? You got to be tossing the flaming chainsaws. Okay.
Exactly.
So, all right. Hurley says, make the unrealistic realistic. Love that.
Perfect. Love it. Yeah.
Daryl appreciates me. Thank you. Speaking of jerks, what?
Us?
Touche, Marshall. Thanks. Okay. All right. So where are we on time? All right. So we have more than 4 here today. So we're going to go through these.
Yep.
So just think about how you differentiate yourself. How does a customer know what you do? I can remember I was talking to this one customer a couple years ago, back when I was running a shop, and we lost a really big job, and I couldn't figure out why. So I talked to them, and they said, well, we didn't give you the thing because we're printing with metallic gold ink this time. And I said, what? I go, metallic gold ink, that's just like any other color, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't know. They thought it was some special thing, right?
Nope.
You have to show your customers what your capabilities are, right? This is called marketing, right?
Yep.
So the sales cycle is know, like, trust, buy, right? The first thing is just know what you do. This is what I do.
Yep.
These are the type of clients I work with. Right. And if you want more tiny orders, keep showing tiny orders in your marketing. Right.
Yep.
If you want more bigger orders, keep showing bigger orders in your marketing, because they attract that attracts that stuff, right?
Show high-end print, show multicolor.
Yeah.
Show detail. Yeah. Show
Cindy
special.
says, you tell him the truth. A guy just left. He asked about the Richardson caps. He got some from another shop. Not sure what he paid. His company in South Texas can get them cheaper. I stick to my price. Exactly. And
Good
guess
job.
what? When the guy can't get those caps and the cheaper price won't work and the embroidery looks like crap, guess who's going to come back? So,
and when he wants that price, what do I say, Marshall, on there when people go, well, Alan, we love what you do, how you help us and stuff, and your product's better, but I can get this cheaper. I go, if I have one cheaper, can it work worse? Mm-hmm. Can my quality be worse, and can my service be less?
Can I take a month to do it?
Yeah. Well, right? No. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Sean says by the way, Sean will be the guest host next week. Our process,
you might like him better than me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, maybe. Our processes allow us to get the order right the first time and not have to give excuses to why something was done late or not at all. SOPs followed by video training makes everyone happy. Exactly.
Nice job. Good job, Sean. That's why you're the co-host next week.
That's right. All right. Next topic. Do you remember what it was?
Well, I wrote it down and came up with them. I have
the answer is no. He doesn't remember.
No, I don't remember.
All right. Cash is king.
Absolutely.
Okay? Remember, we're preparing for the recession. So I want you to think about this right now. We need to get our financial strength in order. So if you're not taking 100% of the money down for the order now, you need to start. Because what's going to happen when the cliff happens is kind of like musical chairs. Okay. If you remember what happened during COVID, March of 2020 caught everybody with their pants down.
Yep.
Okay. And the people that are no longer in business were the ones who had the giant AR report.
Yep. Exactly.
So if you want to make it through the recession, if you want to do the right thing, you need to be financially solvent and you need to have money in the bank. So that $3,000 order, okay, don't charge $1,500 now and $1,500 when it's done. Charge $3,000 now and nothing when it's done, right? Because if they can't pay you this week, what makes you think they can pay you next week? Correct. Just have them put it on a credit card. It's okay, right? So get the money now, and that way you can buy the stock. You can pay your people. You can pay your mortgage. You can do what you got to do because you have the money in the bank.
Right.
Okay. And if you do pay up front with the tenets of profit first, you're really going to leverage financial strength for your company, and it's going to be a good thing, right? And I know there's people on this chat right now who are 100% about the money up front. So don't think that you can't do it.
That's right. And Marshall, you do with your business.
I do with my business. Exactly.
Yep.
So
no matter how big the company is.
Mm-hmm. All right. So,
and you know what? Here's what this isn't saying. Cash is king. And we're saying preparing in case there's a downturn. This is true no matter what. We just forget it when things are going good. So,
So, I can't tell you how many times I've been to a shop, and I'm not going to say who, right? They were over $200,000, 120 days out just for that category, right? And why are they having such an issue, right? Why aren't they doing better, right?
Yep.
It's because they're not collecting the money. You can't forget to collect the money. And here's the crazy thing is this shop was still, the people that owed them money, they were still doing work for them.
Yep.
And so let me tell you, here's a clue. Okay. Customers that don't pay you are not a good customer. Right? You might really like them. They might be the nicest, sweetest people on the planet. Okay. Yep. But if they're not paying you, they're not a customer. I don't care who they are. Okay. So get the money. Cash is king. Operate from a financial strong point. All right. And you'll be better for it.
And you know, and that means learn how to use your money and keep your cash. This is where you're making capital purchases. We're not saying stop buying equipment, stop growing, keep investing in your business. But this is where a finance company comes. You might not always want to use your bank because now that's cutting into your credit lines. And this is where a finance company, where you're going, I can use other people's money, pay that off. You have the money in the bank, and that machinery is making money for you.
Yeah.
You do that. It's about being smart with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's that guy's name?
Dave Harding.
Dave Harding. Yeah.
Dave Harding from DCA. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that was a few years ago. He was one of our first guests.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Mine went blank.
Yep.
So, cash is king. You really need to be focused on that. And you guys know this. This is not a mystery. Yep. It's not a secret. Okay. But I'll tell you, I've seen P&Ls that are a mess, right? And I'm just saying that we can all do, including me, we can all do a better job, right? And so just be focused on that.
When I see an AR report every Friday, it'll be coming if it's not already in my email, on the dealers in my area. And you know what? We have policies at Easy Way. And if they're behind, we don't ship.
Yeah.
And
I was talking with a shop owner a couple months ago, and they were crazy busy. And their big problem is the fact that they billed for stuff, and they were so busy they could not afford to buy shirts and supplies because they didn't have the cash to do the next order.
This happens a lot.
And so they were as busy as they were, Alan, they were running out of money.
Yeah.
Right.
And because cash is king.
Yeah. And I'm like, you got to go to pay up front. They're like, well, nobody will do business with us. I go, yeah, they will. Okay.
And when I was selling equipment, I would talk to people on there. Have they looked at financing? No, we're just going to pay cash. Now, wait, you're upgrading to an auto, a bigger dryer and stuff. So you're going to have production out faster. You're going to need more ink, more shirts, more stuff faster. And you're not getting paid up front. You're going to be dead in a year.
Right.
And this happens a lot. So, yeah.
So John said, we had one of the richest local business owners come in for work tees, threw a huge fit of 100% upfront payment before any work begins. Told us, I hope you get bigger so you can afford to do business with big shots like me. Ha, ha, ha. Her order was for less than $500. They paid up and got their shirts, and my staff got paid.
Correct. Way to go, John.
Yeah. And let me tell you, I had a company approach me for doing some work, and I'm like, okay, here's how I work. You pay me up front. And they're like, well, we're such a big company. We don't do that. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great that you're a big company, but this is how I work. You came to me and this is how I work. And I go, well, that's not how we work. We don't do it that way. I go, well, have you ever buy a plane ticket? Yeah. I go, well, you buy your plane ticket up front before you get on the plane. Do you order anything from Amazon? Yeah. Okay. Well, you buy from Amazon, you pay up front, right? Yeah. How am I any different?
Absolutely.
And so this is how I work. Okay. And they go, well, we don't do it that way. I go, well, then it's not a good fit. And I turn them down.
Absolutely.
Right? Because I don't have time to be chasing money. And this wasn't like a big project either. This was a tiny thing. And so it's like, but they were such a huge company that they're just throwing that weight around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So to me, it's better to stick to your guns than to be lulled into things. And a big thing I hear over and over and over again is professional athletes reaching out to a local screen printer because they have the charity camp or whatever, and they're trying to get free shirts. These are multi-millionaire people.
Yep.
Okay. And they want everything for free because now you're working with that star athlete or whatever. Right. So let me tell you, you can't buy groceries with exposure.
It's exactly it.
Like that doesn't work. Right. You have to get money for stuff. Right. So don't be lulled into the fact that, hey, we're going to let everybody know we do work with you. Okay. Get the money.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Soapbox over. So next thing is get rid of debt. So remember, we're preparing for the recession. Okay.
Marshall, I'm concerned on this last point that you take everything up front. I saw your cards. Doesn't it say Marshall Atkinson Savings and Loan? Aren't you the bank?
As a matter of fact, I am not a bank.
Exactly. And neither should anybody else be. Yeah.
Right. I'm not a bank. All right. So our next point is get rid of debt.
Absolutely.
Okay. So credit card debt, subscriptions or things that you have that you don't necessarily need, you might want to start paring these back now. And I think every little thing kind of chunks into this. Now, we're not saying, don't not spend money, don't do things, don't go to the trade show, don't invest in your company. What I'm saying is do it smartly.
Yep.
Absolutely. And so a really great thing, this is what I do, is I take a percentage of sales and I put it into a savings account. So when I want to go to an expo, when I want to invest in something, when I want to buy a new computer, right? That money is sitting right there, and I don't have to put it on a credit card because I have the money.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm just saying right now is the time to start winnowing that down, okay, as much as you can, because then it's going to be easier if something happens later this year that you're going to be a little more financially stronger, okay? So, debt is a big problem for a lot of people.
Yep.
So, and this is also true personally, also, not just your business.
Yep. And you everything we're saying, you need to look at it personally also. So, yeah. And, there are things, if you have machinery you can pay off early, you might want to do that. But take a look at that. Depending on what your interest rate is, if it's less than 5%, just use the money, keep it in your bank account. But you want to take a look at that stuff.
Talk to your accountant.
Talk to your accountant on there. Again, you got to know your profit and loss. You got to know your numbers and stuff. But this is it, because when things happen, again, whether it's a recession, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's a medical emergency, personally, there is opportunity at the bottom of the trough, and you got to be solvent at the bottom of the trough. Right.
And again, hopefully nothing happens. Hopefully we keep going up and up and up with sales and everything's great. And all that. We're just saying that if push comes to shove, we want to see everybody at the end of this. Right. And so that's why we're throwing this out there.
It's not a good time, but I remember growing up, we were in worse times. Things are high now, but I remember when things were high and there were gas lines my parents were standing at. Right. My parents bought a house at 12% interest, 16% is like at the time. So we're not there yet. So it's not doom and gloom, but we need to learn from the past.
Right.
And we just came out of this 2 years ago. So these are just reminders. Yeah. Marshall and I don't have a magic crystal ball. This is just
what? You don't have a magic crystal ball?
It's broken right now. It's in the shop. So, this is just things we talk about because this is what we do. We got to keep reminded.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. All right. So here's our last one that we've got prepared, which is make decisions early. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we mean by this is have a plan, right? So if something happens, what happens if you lose your best client?
Yeah.
Okay. So game this out a little bit, right? So if you've got a client that's 20 or 30% of your business and they evaporate overnight, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And especially how many shops, right, at COVID did schools and events?
Yep.
Okay. And then all of those markets disappeared, right?
Yep.
And that was all of their business. And if they didn't pivot, remember that crazy word, if they didn't do something new, right, they were out of business.
I refuse to acknowledge that word.
Yeah. So we just want you to be thinking ahead, right? So look at what's going on. So what happens if you're an event business or whatever, and it's really expensive to travel? What do you think is going to happen? Right? If you're doing, stuff for like resort wear, and then nobody goes on vacation, right? What do you think is going to happen?
Yep.
Right. and this isn't just next week, right? So start thinking about what's going to happen with your customers. If, look at what happened last year, maybe look at what happened in 2020 as a model, right? So when these things happen, what did your customers do? Whatever, maybe they'll do it again. Maybe start reaching out to them and just say, hey, been thinking about some stuff. What do you think if we did it this way?
Yep.
Right. And here's where I think print on demand could really help, right? So instead of printing 1,000 shirts for the thing, what if there was a print on demand online store and they're only ordering shirts as they were selling them, right? And that way there's no inventory they're stocking, right? And that way there's no risk to that company. That's something that you could offer. But if you don't currently do that, you're going to have to build that process out.
Yep.
So what does that look like? Or does that mean you're using transfers? Does that mean you're using DTG? Does that mean you're doing embroidery? What is that what platform is that going to be on? Right. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of questions that are in that, right? Are you prepared for that? Right. That's something I think when I say make decisions early, this is what I'm talking about, is really focusing on how are you going to do work differently?
Right. So
what do you think, Alan?
Well, I think we have to make decisions early, and we need to do it always on there. I say this in life a lot. There is no waiting. That doesn't mean make knee-jerk decisions, but you got to be thinking about that. Davis just posted on the bottom, and just can you pull that up?
I can. I want
to bounce off that. He says, "Sound familiar?" It does sound familiar.
Yeah.
2 years ago, we talked about this a lot, and it needs to be. So we need to make decisions early. We need to be thinking about this now. One of the things on there too. So we didn't pivot. We adjusted, and everybody went to promo. They went to mass. They did stuff like that. So one of the questions, Marshall, I'm going to bounce a question off you that I had yesterday. How's the promo industry doing? One of my dealers said they feel like the promo stuff and printers is leveled off, and we coined the term. People have been yetied to death.
Well, promo it depends on the market and what you do, right? Yep. And I've got friends that are all in that, right?
Yep.
And they're having a big problem, like everybody, with supply chain. A lot of promo stuff is made overseas.
Yep.
So that's certainly impacted them. And a lot of promo sales are up. It just depends on who you are. I can tell you a lot of the promo folks are all about securing, because holiday is big in promo, holiday orders now.
All right, great.
Okay, now. I mean, now. It's
now.
May. Now.
It's May.
They're not.
Christmas, Thanksgiving.
They're doing, if you're going to have a Christmas program, we want you to order now. And the reason why is because it takes so long to get the stuff in. Everything is on back order. Who knows what the gas prices are going to be. And so it's like, you know what? So right now gas is, let's just call it $5 a gallon, right? So what happens if it's 8 or 9? So if you buy the stuff now and bring it in, you're betting that it's going to be a lower price than it could be in August.
Yeah.
Right. And so maybe that helps you. Right.
Yep.
So it's like one of these things. What is it? Right. What are you going to do? Right. And so I think it's just securing these orders now and getting things done now. And guess what? A lot of shops have a summer slump.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon for July to be even worse than January, right?
Yep.
So can you do something in July about holiday in July, right? And get these things secured and ordered and decorated and to your customer. And then you've got revenue that came in July, right? That you might not get, right? And especially if something happens in Q4 and then you've already gotten paid. You've already got that job, right? So I think really just, trying to do things a little earlier, I think is going to be a big benefit. And so how can you make an impact?
I think too, Marshall, it's also making decisions early on. If you're investing in your business and you're growing, again, what we're saying is don't not grow your business. Keep going. If you're looking at that automatic, that DTF, that DTG, and a new embroidery machine, keep going if your market's there.
Yeah.
Be smart with your cash. Look at your financing. Make the decisions early because things aren't shipping quick. Do it now. It's not going to go down, I don't think, anytime soon.
And also, so many shop owners are so focused on what's going on, what's in their shop right now. They're not thinking about what's ahead.
Yep, absolutely.
It's May. Your brain as an owner should be in July and August. You should be 100% in back to school mode.
Absolutely.
The market. You should be 100% in, the fall, football season, all that. Right.
Yep.
And because guess what? If you get a jump on your competition, then you've secured all that stuff. If you're jerking around waiting for that season to happen to get closer, then what happens is somebody's already beat you to it.
This goes into setting yourself apart too, that you're on top of it. They're your number one customer. I'm thinking about you. How can we come up with solutions on it? So absolutely.
So I use a phrase all the time in consulting, which is your preparation determines your outcome.
Absolutely.
Right. So, we have a phrase actually in my house, which is, if you're not early, you're running late. Right. So I think those two things really apply right now.
In sales, we have the same thing we always say. Early is on time is late never happens.
Yeah. Right. But we know that there's all these factors right now that are just monkeying up the works. So if you want to provide more value to your customer, if you want to do things better, if you want to gain more sales, you have to be out there hunting. You have to be out there trying to make a difference. So how can you surprise and delight people? What can you bring to the market? What can you do differently that can generate more sales? Who can you collaborate with and design a new product? Right? Maybe it's a completely different market, but can you partner with somebody? Right? Can you help solve a problem for somebody? I think these things are really going to make an impact, especially if you start looking down the road of what might happen. And then guess what? Then you become more valuable because you're the guy who came up with the thing. Right? Or a woman, right? Doesn't have to be a guy. So,
you know what? Yeah, look, collaboration is good too. So, DTF is the hot thing right now. I have some people looking and some people not quite sure on it. You know what they need to do? They need to get with David Slagle. Yeah. Hey, can I contract DTF to you? I'm sure Davis would be all over that.
He doesn't do that.
He doesn't, not at all. That's all he does. But
he's making money going direct.
Okay. Yeah. So, got it. But
so there's people that do that.
There are people that do that. So Stalls does it. So
So just think about how you can do things better, right? That's
absolutely.
That's all we're
And you know what? Look at different markets. Look at as Jesse was saying, look at different markets. What else could you be doing with that piece of equipment on there? Screen printing is a lot. You can screen print boxes. Do you know you can screen print vinyl? Yeah, it's a little different, but you can do things. What are you doing? This is where I love people that do embroidery. They have DTF. They have roll-in machines. One of my clients says, we do some banners for roll-ins. We use it. We just don't push it enough. Start.
Yeah, I was talking with somebody the other day who just got a DTG printer and none of his clients know that he has it. It's like, okay, so when's that going to happen?
Yeah. No wonder it's sitting there collecting dust.
Yeah. You gotta let people know you have this stuff, that you have the capabilities to make an impact.
Absolutely.
Right? You can't wait. Right? There's no waiting.
Right. There's no waiting.
No crying in baseball.
There's no crying in baseball. There is no waiting.
By the way, I watched that movie yesterday.
I love that movie.
Right. And I've forgotten how funny John Lovitz was in it.
Dry your eyes.
Yeah. All right. So good point, Alan. Frank says, I saw DTF being pressed on Mylar balloons.
Wow. I haven't seen that. I've seen Mylar balloons being screen printed. I've never seen DTF. That's impressive.
Yeah. So think about, if you're, I was just curious, Frank. So if that same DTF transfer can go on a hat, can go on a shirt, can go on a tote bag, can go on a balloon with no other special prep, right? So think about the full package you can deliver with one thing. Let's say you printed 20 of them and you did 5 of each different type of product.
Right.
Okay. And that went into a box to show off to a client that your capabilities are. You've got a balloon, you've got a mug, you got a bag, you got a shirt, you got a hat, all with the same thing on it. Right? Mm-hmm. That's pretty slick. Right? Not to mention that DTF print can be on the box too. Right? So anyway, so I just think, let's be thinking, what can we do? What can we do to make an impact? Right. And
there are a lot of options. There's DTF, there's DTG, there's embroideries, there's lots of options.
There's think about all the people that you've already sold something to that don't know that you do something.
Correct.
They're an embroidery customer, but they don't know that you do screen printing. They're a screen printing customer. They don't know that you can do banners.
Yep.
Right. It's up to you to educate these people. Right.
They don't know you can personalize with HTV. They don't know you can do everything.
Yeah. So they just don't know. Right. So it's up to you to educate them. Right.
I have the new rolling printer and nobody knows about it.
That's half the battle.
Absolutely.
All right. So we got a couple of minutes left.
Did you see what Sean said?
No.
Above Frank.
Send a gift box. Everyone takes notice when they get something nice without having to do anything to get it.
We've got a gift box from Sean. Yeah, absolutely.
Who doesn't love a gift box?
Absolutely.
Simon says, "Sorry guys, late in. Happy Friday."
Yep.
That's okay. We'll put a smiley face on your name because you showed up.
You're always welcome, Simon.
And update your website with your services. Exactly.
Absolutely.
I am redoing my website right now.
Yep.
So it hasn't been updated in, I don't know, 8 years maybe. It's been a while. So I'm updating it right now, and hopefully by the end of June we should have it launched. That's the goal.
Yep, I was surprised. I got a box, new Easy Way catalogs, and it's up for download on our website. So yeah, they did a great job on it.
All right, we forgot to show the
let's pulse. Go the pulse. So yeah, here at GSG, here's the product, man. Image Armor pre-treatment. So Image Armor is USA made. It's made by our friend Brian Walker from Image Technologies, or not Image Technologies, IJ Technologies. And what a great premium pre-treatment. So take a look at it. They're 10% off. They have a bunch of variations. They have one for lights. They have one for darks, depending on what you use. Check it out. So at gogsg.com. And of course, they have the Stahls Light Tack spray adhesive, things like that there. But
this is in the version of the Pulse magazine, which you can go to gogsg.com, and it's 24 pages, and it's full of products and what they do, and it's right on their main page. So this is the one for spring, and thanks GSG for sponsoring our show. We love you.
Absolutely. They have an apparel one, they have a sign one, they have some equipment in there, they have it all. Mm-hmm. So so GSG is going to be at the GPX Indie show, I know. And so John, go get the dip tank there.
That's right. GoGSG.com. That's the website.
Absolutely.
All right. So something's happening with you on Tuesday, and something's happening to me on Tuesday. You want to let's share. What are you doing Tuesday?
Well, if I come up negative on my COVID test this weekend, I will be boarding a plane in Detroit with final destination to Cebu City, Philippines. I'm going to be there for over 2 weeks. I'll be returning June 9th, and I can't wait. This is a vacation. I have not been there in 15 years. I have friends that I have known for 30, and I have not seen them in 15 years, and so I'm really looking forward to it. So of course it's an international flight. It is the Philippines is a great country. I love it there. The nicest people in the world. It is hot. It is humid. It is a tropical one. It's a third world, but where we're at, they have a lot of first world amenities, but it is that. So
yeah,
I'm going to try to stay healthy and stuff, and really looking forward to it. But I'm going to try to log in with Marshall here
next week. Alan's going to be remote from the Philippines, and just in case, we have Sean Lefebvre with North Georgia Promotions. He's going to be hanging out with us as a guest host. And then we should have all three of us up here if things work.
Wow.
If Alan can't get on or there's a technical difficulties, it's just going to be me and Sean. So hopefully.
Or I fall asleep because it is a 12-hour time difference. It will actually be midnight Friday, and I don't get into 6 a.m. Thursday. So who knows? If I look ragged worse than I do, there's a reason.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It's going to be fun. And then if for the following week, Tom Rowan's going to be here with me, and that's going to be lots of fun because Tom is all about the marketing.
He is. And Tom just finished Mac and Cheese Fest in Dubuque. Mm-hmm. And man, I wish I was there, man, with beer and tasting all kinds of mac and cheese.
I love mac and cheese.
And man, we got some great people coming up. I'm excited. We got Amy from Threadbare Print House coming up. We have her scheduled. And then June 24th, I don't want to say who.
We have a special show on June 24th, and we're not spilling the beans.
Yep.
It's going to be the industry's coolest show.
It is.
We're lining up the planets. You won't believe it.
Yep. We actually had to go to GSG, to the higher ups, and say, here's what we want to do. Tell us that you got your blessing on this, because this is where, and they did. So this is going to be fun.
We're very excited about it. So
I am. So it's going to be great.
Yeah.
I can't believe we did it. And I think it's awesome. Yeah.
And so you shared your news for Tuesday. So
what's yours?
Tuesday for next week, my son, Jack, who you guys have seen on this show, is graduating high school. And both his mother and I are extremely proud of him. And he's such a great kid. And we can't wait to see what his whole future is going to be. And if you've been to Tshirt Lab Fort Worth, you met Jack.
Yep.
And I'm trying to get him to go to the Chicago event. So we'll see if he wants to do that.
Jack would have to take time off work because he just got a job.
He just got a job at a burger joint.
At Smash Burger. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, it's we're very proud of Jack, and he is going to be going to NAU, Northern Arizona University, and he's going to be biology major, and he wants to get into forensics. Of course, that's what he wants to do now. Who knows what he's going to end up with? Because that's I think it's more common for people to switch their majors than to graduate with what they started with.
Oh, always. Yeah. But that's what, you're coming out of kids, you're starting an adult life. You're allowed to make changes on it. This is the time to do it. Absolutely.
So actually today is his last day of being at his school.
Oh, how exciting on there. We'll tell Jack, congratulations. And if you haven't met Jack, he is a great kid. I've met him. He's taller than I am, but not as tall as Marshall.
I don't know how we did it.
I don't think it was because of you guys. It was because of your wife, I think. It wasn't because of you. It was in spite of you guys. But yeah, he's a great kid, and we're proud of Jack. So good. Right. I love what Chris Mold said.
All right. If I can go off 3 hours of sleep before your podcast, then I have faith you'll make it, Alan. There you go.
I doubt it. I'm a lot older than you, but yeah.
And Cindy says, have a great weekend. Safe travels, Alan.
Thank you, Cindy.
And Sean says, FBI. Yeah, he's totally down with that, right?
Yep, great. And Frank says he'll be in Hawaii next week. Frank Good on his anniversary.
Really? I missed that.
Right there.
I'll miss you next week. He'll be in Hawaii for anniversary vacation.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Aloha.
Yep.
That's great.
All right.
All right, everyone. So have a fantastic week. We'll see you next week for the giant international experiment.
And if I don't,
fingers crossed that we can pull it off.
So right now, the only hurdle I have left is Saturday and Sunday. It's the COVID negative test. If that's there, and someone goes, my boss goes, what happens if you turns off a false positive, and I go, I'll do it again real quick. But if not, then I'm taking 2 weeks off. I'm going to Florida.
Yeah.
I will be furious.
To, like, bunker down and not go anywhere.
I haven't all week. I went to a couple places. I had a couple doctor's appointments, just follow-ups. Before then, had to get a tetanus shot. I had one appointment yesterday. And so I have not really, for the first time since COVID, I've just avoided people.
Well, that's where a lot of people get sick, is the doctor's office.
Yeah, I know. But I had to go get a tetanus shot there. So, yeah.
All righty.
Well, great.
So, hey, Mario jumped in.
Mario, hey, how you doing? Good.
And then Hurley says, great show, guys. Have a great weekend. Safe travels out.
And I hope to see you guys Friday. So it'll be fun.
All right. See you guys later.
Have a great one.
We'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks for watching.
Thanks a lot.